I purchased my ideal home and invited my family for a housewarming celebration. Nobody showed up. They all went to admire my sister's new vehicle instead. As I flicked on the lights, my phone erupted with a call from my father. "We need to discuss something," he said. "My name's Ethan, by the way. I'm 29, the eldest, the organizer, the one with extra batteries and a savings account for emergencies. I work as a project manager in construction, handling permits, timelines, and finances. I like orderly lists, labeled containers, and doors that shut properly on the first try. My family calls me reliable and pragmatic. I see myself as the foundation that supports their chaos. My sister Lily is 26 and the family favorite. She's impulsive, lively, and driven by dreams. Our parents cheer every time she wants something. When I got my driver's license, I paid for a second-hand sedan and changed its oil in the driveway. When Lily got hers, Dad said, "A young lady needs something secure," and handed her keys to a brand new SUV with a bow from the dealership. I learned early not to expect praise. You do what's right and move forward. Buying a house wasn't about recognition. It was about doors that lock and stay locked. It was about escaping Dad's blaring TV through thin walls and not sharing a fridge with Lily's empty meal prep containers. I saved for 4 years, extra shifts, no trips, roommates who left dirty plates, and a spreadsheet named Step by Step. Last month, the dream came true. A modest craftsman-style home with a citrus tree in the yard and a porch swing the previous owners left, asking only that I use it. 2 bedrooms, a creaky corridor, a small fireplace with a tile painted with a lopsided green turtle. I ran my hand along the kitchen counter and felt it was made for me. I sent a photo to the family group chat, keys in hand. A sold sign behind me captioned, "Housewarming next Saturday at 5, stew, biscuits, fire pit if the breeze allows." I got 3 party emojis, a "good job, son" that felt recycled, and from Lily, a sticker of a wine glass with "yes." All week, I cleaned cabinets and lined drawers. I painted over wall scuffs. I bought folding chairs and 8 matching bowls. I found a used rug and drove it home, poorly tied to my sedan, its edges flapping like banners in my side mirror. On Saturday, I strung fairy lights in the backyard and lit 3 citronella candles that smelled like citrus cleaner. The stew simmered. I baked the biscuits at 420 degrees F. I set a cooler on the deck with ice, 3 types of soda, 2 beers, and 1 cream soda because Dad likes to act young when he's cheerful. I arranged napkins and budget-friendly plastic spoons. At 5:02, I checked the street. It was silent. At 5:11, I lit the candles anyway. At 5:18, I texted, "ETA?" Mom replied, "Soon," with a heart. Dad didn't respond. Lily sent a photo, her in sunglasses on a car lot posing by a sleek silver car, captioned, "We got it." At 5:33, my phone buzzed again. A video from Mom. "Look at our girl," she said, filming. Lily revved the engine. Someone chuckled. The salesman applauded. The video ended. I stared at the screen. The stew bubbled and burst. I turned off the stove. At 5:41, I switched on my new living room lights, expecting the warmth of home to flood me. The room looked like a staged real estate photo. Clean, prepared, vacant. My phone rang. "Dad," I hesitated a beat longer than I would have last year, then answered. "We need to talk," he said, no greeting. "Okay," I replied. I looked at my porch where I'd placed a small welcome sign, feeling like a punchline without a setup. "Now," he said. I stood in my own home's light, phone to my ear, hearing the tone Dad uses before he assigns me a task. I didn't yet know what they wanted. I only knew they were at a dealership and I was in a silent kitchen with cooling stew. I leaned against the counter and said, "I'm home." I didn't add alone. The porch swing creaked in a light breeze. The sign looked foolish, like a prop for a scene no one attended. I hung up and placed my phone face down. Somewhere in town, Lily circled the lot in her new car and everyone cheered. I stood in my house listening to the fridge hum. The first sting wasn't loud. It was the lights glowing for a crowd that picked another performance. I served myself a bowl and ate over the sink. The stew was tasty. The room was still. The lights stayed on. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I chewed, stared at the doorway, felt the draft where the weather stripping was still on order, then washed the bowl, dried it, and set it face down on a towel, like I was preparing for something I couldn't yet name. Money in our family always wore a disguise. It posed as love, obligation, or discipline, depending on the day. At 14, Dad called it responsibility and charged me $100 a month for rent from my part-time job. "Teaches you life," he said, taking the cash from my hand like I was paying a fine. At 16, when I asked where the money went, Mom said, "To the family." When I asked to see the family's books, Dad laughed. By then, I kept track. I had a phone note with dates and amounts. I told myself it wasn't petty. It was a guide through a haze where others pretended the path didn't exist. Meanwhile, Lily mastered showing up after the bill. She's skilled at I need. People spoke of her in gentle terms: dreams, creativity, potential. She tried one semester of college, then quit because the instructor was harsh. She launched a soap business but never filed taxes. She wanted to be an influencer, so she needed a better phone, a lighting kit, a creative hub, a car for brand partnerships. Guess who calculated the hub's costs? Guess who hauled a sofa from the garage? Guess who drove her to a collab that was just a stranger's apartment with a strange odor? When I pushed back, saying no to a temporary phone plan add-on, no to costing a lease for 6 months, the labels shifted. I became distant, calculating, selfish. Mom would say, "Don't be a spreadsheet with your family." Dad would say, "A man provides." A man provides covered everything. Lily's credit card emergency, $312.47. Dad's new tires when he misjudged payday, $198. The HOA fee they let slide because HOAs are a ripoff, $280 plus penalties and legal fees. Then the small ones, streaming subscriptions because we all use it, coffee capsules because we like the good stuff, a new vacuum because you can't clean without one. It was always we when they asked and you when they thanked. If I said no, Mom's voice trembled. "We did everything for you," she'd say. "We fed you." Dad would cross his arms and stare out the window. "We're not asking for the stars," he'd say, "just family." I'm not a saint. I'm a guy who tracks where money goes and wants a plan. I helped because it was easier than arguing and because sometimes helping feels like loyalty, even when it's not. The house changed the equation. It meant freedom from roommates' overnight guests. It meant a door with my name on it and a deed no one could claim by surprise. It meant no one could say we when they meant you without my agreement. I told my parents I was house hunting. Mom said, "Get a guest room for Lily while she plans her next step." Dad said, "Make sure there's a garage for my power tools." Lily said, "Your place will be perfect, and can I film in your kitchen? The lighting's great." When my offer was accepted, I brought cheap sparkling juice and paper cups and said, "I did it." Mom hugged me and immediately said, "We should put Lily on your address to lower her insurance just temporarily." Dad smiled and said, "Property's a family resource." Lily took a selfie in my car's side mirror and posted, "Big moves," with a sparkle emoji like my house was her set. I paid the down payment. I paid closing costs. I paid to replace a pipe the inspector called hopeful. I signed 15 times, then once more, the pen feeling weighty and satisfying. When the title officer slid the folder to me and said, "Homeowner," my throat eased, a knot I'd carried since paying rent as a teen unraveling. That week, Mom texted, "We'll come Saturday to settle you in and bless the place." She listed things they could bring. A plant-a-mat that painting Dad loves. Lily wrote, "I'll do a house tour for my fans." I replied, "Housewarming at 5. Later, I wondered, "Are you here to celebrate or to take?" Saturday answered, "No one came." They were at a dealership watching Lily drive in circles. Dad was probably haggling the APR on speakerphone. Mom was likely filming the reveal, eyebrows raised like she was the one surprised. Everyone clapped for a car that lost value as it left the lot. No one saw the door I'd paid to open. When Dad called and said, "We need to talk," I knew it wasn't about congratulations. It was about logistics. It was about my house, the way a fox eyes a meadow. The stew in my sink didn't anger me alone. It was the latest point in a pattern that shifts but always forms the same shape. A favor with my name on it, a plan where I'm the fallback, a family where love sounds like, "Just sign here." I didn't answer Dad's now. I texted, "Tomorrow afternoon." He replied, "Don't be theatrical." In my family, theatrical means you didn't agree quickly enough. That night, the citrus tree rustled, dropping one fruit onto the grass. I sat on the porch swing and watched a moth circle the light. My phone sat heavy on the table. I didn't touch it. I watched the sky turn violet, then plain. I made a list for tomorrow, half tasks, half resolve. In the morning, I wiped the counters again, preparing for a talk where someone would hand me a folder and call it love. They arrived like a task force, 10 minutes early. Dad's truck led. Mom's SUV followed. Lily's glossy silver car had crooked temporary tags. I watched through the peephole. Lily checked her makeup in the visor mirror. Mom pursed her lips like she was about to scold a student. Dad carried a clipboard, naturally. I opened the door before they rang. "Hey," I said. Mom air-kissed near my cheek. "We'll bless the house later," she said. "After what?" Dad strode into my living room like he owned it. Lily filmed a quick clip for her story. "Guys, check it out," she said to her phone. "My brother's place." They didn't remove their shoes. They didn't comment on the turtle tile. They didn't ask about the citrus tree. Dad placed the clipboard on my counter. "Let's get to it," he said. "To what?" I asked, knowing the answer. He flipped a page. I saw printouts, headings, bullets. He was eager. "Okay," he said. "First, Lily's insurance is outrageous, so we're registering her car at your address. She'll park here sometimes." "No," I said. He blinked. "What?" "No," I repeated. "No registration here unless someone lives here." Mom softened instantly. "She'll be here often," she said. "She needs stability." Lily leaned on the counter, phone in hand. "It's not a big deal," she said. "Everyone does it. It's harmless." "It's not about harm," I said. "It's about my name." Dad sighed like I was a stubborn kid. "You're being inflexible," he said. "Next item, we need to add your dad to the deed." "You asterisk are my dad," I said. He ignored me. "For estate planning," he said. "So it's clean if something happens to you." "If something happens," I said. "My will's in my desk. I wrote it last month. 2 witnesses, Jake from work and his partner, signed. No one touches my deed." Mom's smile tightened. "We're protecting you," she said. "You don't get how the world works." "I read," I said. "I get it." Lily looked offended like I'd refused her new perfume. "So selfish," she muttered. "We're literally family." Dad flipped another page. "Fine, then pull some cash out," he said. "Refinance, take an equity line, maybe $80,000. We'll help manage it. Lily needs a deposit for a shop." "There it is," I said. "What?" Mom asked, startled. "The reason you skipped my housewarming," I said. "You were planning what to do with my house." Lily threw up her hands. "We were celebrating my car," she said. "It's a milestone. You're being small." Dad tapped the clipboard. "This is the milestone," he said. "Be strategic. Your money sitting in walls is idle. Unlock it. Lily's shop will repay you." "Lily's shop," I said. "The soaps, the pop-ups you ditch when you're bored, the brand you've renamed 3 times, she bristled. "You're being negative," she said. "This is why you're not invited places." "I invited you here," I said. "You chose a dealership." Mom cut in with that voice she uses when manipulation feels like care. "Ethan," she said. "Listen, we raised you, we housed you. We fed you, family shares resources with the child who needs it most. You're stable, Lily's launching. For 6 months, maybe a year you carry more, she'll carry you later." "Carry me?" I said. "I just carried myself here." Dad leaned forward, elbows on my counter. "Be a man," he said. "Step up." "You taught me to be a man by charging me rent at 14, I said. "I stepped up, I saved, I did this alone. This house isn't a team effort." The air changed. That's the moment when, in my family, you're supposed to retreat because Dad's about to yell or Mom's about to cry. Lily senses it and wraps it around her like a shawl. She pointed a manicured finger. "You don't even use both bedrooms," she said. "I could move in, I could help with content, I'd pay you a bit." "How much?" I asked. She blinked. "Why does it matter? Money's energy." "It flows," Dad slapped the clipboard. "Enough, here's the plan. I'll call my contact. We'll adjust your deed to protect you. We'll refinance for a cushion. We'll register the car here for the discount. You'll host Thanksgiving since you have space." "No," I said, voice steady, "to all of it." Mom's eyes glistened, a mix of real and rehearsed. "Why are you hurting us?" she whispered. "This isn't punishment," I said, feeling calm settle like a seatbelt clicking. "It's boundaries," Dad scoffed. "Boundaries from what, your family?" "From a role I didn't choose," I said. "From Ethan will handle it being the default for every plan you make." Lily's voice sharpened. "You're lucky," she said. "You have a house, some of us need help." "I needed help too," I said. "I gave it to myself." Dad pointed like a coach. "Listen," he said low now, "you don't shut out blood." "I'm not shutting," I said. "I'm securing what I paid for." He straightened, anger quiet, rewriting me in his mind. "Do this and don't cry when you're alone," he said. Mom added, "Don't expect us when you need something." I stared at the citrus on the counter, tempted to hand it to them as a gesture. I didn't. Lily checked her watch dramatically. "I have content to film," she said. "Are we done?" "We're done," I said. "House rules, no registering anything here unless you live here. No keys handed out. No one on my deed, no loans. If Grandma needs meds, I'll help her directly. Otherwise, my house isn't the family bank or storage unit. If you want tools here, bring cash for a shed and we'll sign a receipt." Dad laughed sharp. "A receipt," he said like it was an insult. "Yes," I said. "A receipt." Mom said, "You've changed." "I've moved," I said. They left with a door close that spoke louder than words. Lily revved her car like it could outshine my porch light. I watched the taillights fade. My pulse thrummed in my jaw. I went inside, wrote the rules on a card, and taped it inside the pantry door. Not for them. For me. People think the big moment is the hardest. It's not. It's the next 2 weeks when your phone becomes an alarm and you must choose not to rush into the chaos you're used to. Within an hour, the group chat exploded. Mom, your actions today were unacceptable. Dad, ungrateful. Lily, a DMV page screenshot with address change needed, captioned, my brother's literally blocking me. 3 of her friends liked it. A stranger DM'd me a skull emoji. I muted the chat. I silenced my ringer. I set Grandma and Jake work as favorites to get through. Then quietly, without fanfare, I did the tedious work. I changed the smart lock code, erasing temporary ones from move-in day. I installed a locking mailbox so no one could helpfully collect my mail and find my bank statements. I emailed my insurance agent, instructing her not to accept policy changes without my written signature and a password we set by phone. I froze my credit, knowing Dad's version of emergency. I added a freeze on my property records with the county, alerting me if anyone tries to file on my parcel. I called the dealership Lily posted about, asking if anyone used my address. The clerk said, yeah, someone mentioned a family property for insurance. We haven't processed it. Don't, I said, and sent an email to confirm. I saved it in a folder called Home. Paper trails keep reality solid in my family. Mom ramped up to phone calls, 6 missed. 9, 14. Voicemails swung from stern to soft to threatening to soft again. We can resolve this, she said. Then if you love me, call. Then we'll be at your house at 7. Then a sigh. I don't know who you are anymore. Dad sent 2 texts with links. A refinance calculator and a storage shed listing. Caption, be reasonable. I didn't reply. Lily used her public story to target me. Some people close to you mock your journey, she wrote over her car's photo. Keep going, commenters wrote. Haters gonna hate. I closed the app and went outside, picked 2 citruses, and gave one to my neighbor across the street who'd waved on move-in day and said, welcome. She said she liked them in her tea. We chatted about nothing for 4 minutes. It felt like breathing in a place with air. On day 3, Mom tried a new tactic. We have a solution, she wrote. We'll help with your mortgage if you sign a family contract to keep the house with us. She quoted with us, like she knew it wasn't proper but wanted it to feel normal. I replied, no one touches my deed. 6 hours later, she wrote, you'll be alone at holidays. Maybe, I typed, but I'll have a chair to sit in. Aunt Clara called, humming a gospel tune in her voicemail, then said, family's stronger than pride. I Googled the quote later and laughed in my kitchen because it means the opposite. I didn't call back. Dad showed up once early Saturday pre-coffee. I watched him through the peephole debating the bell. He raised his fist, then lowered it. He texted, come out. I replied, no unannounced visits. Schedule it. He stood on my porch, snapped a photo of my house like it could intimidate me, then drove off. I noted the date and time on a sticky note and filed it in my paper trail folder. That afternoon, Lily fed Mom a line and Mom fed it to me. Lily needs a temporary mailing address for the DMV, just mail. I sent the state law link defining primary residence. I wrote, no. Lily replied with 12 facepalm emojis and you're obsessed with rules. I wrote, they're how houses stay yours. Grandma called after her evening show. They're upset, she said plainly. You eating? I am, I said. Made stew. Freeze some, she said. Don't let your mom guilt you into giving them your walls. I won't, I said. We discussed her meds. I offered to set up auto delivery to her door. You're a good kid, she said. Don't be foolish. That's her I love you and keep the doors locked. I noted her needs and ordered online. I called with the order number. She wrote it on a sticky note for her fridge. We're alike, Grandma and I. We trust numbers that prove things happened. On day 5, the texts quieted. That scared me more than the noise. Silence in my family is regrouping. At noon, an email from my title company pinged. FYI, inquiry received, Ray, adding party to deed, no action taken. Attached was a fuzzy scan of a form with my parcel number and father under new owner. No signature. No legal weight, just boldness on paper. The assistant wrote, we rejected it as we should. We wanted you to know. I sent 10 thank yous and asked them to flag future attempts. I filed the email. I ate a sandwich over the sink, shaking my head until the anger smoothed out. That night, the group chat renamed itself Family Crisis. Mom wrote, Sunday meeting mandatory. I typed, I won't be there, and muted it again. Dad wrote, you will, then we're your parents. Then grow up. I set my phone down and hung a shelf in the hall. I used a stud finder. I used a level. The house exhaled as the screws gripped the wood. I placed a bowl on the shelf for my keys, only mine. On Sunday at 5, while they met without me, I grilled 2 burgers on my small grill and gave one to my neighbor who texted, "You're a great neighbor." I watched the fairy lights glow. The citrus tree rustled. I ate the second burger in a chair I'd bought myself. I thought about family resource and how long I'd mistaken family for access to Ethan. The next morning, Mom tried a final ritual. "We took your keys," she texted. "We're blessing your house with oil." They had no keys. I'd changed the locks. I told her so. She sent a photo of a tiny oil jar on their old dining table. "We're praying for you," she wrote. "Thanks," I replied. "Keep your hands off my deed." She didn't answer. A week after the missed housewarming, I hosted one anyway. I invited 5 work colleagues, 2 from my weekend basketball group, and my neighbor. I made the same stew. I set out the same plastic spoons. We sat on the creaky porch swing, swapping stories about work mishaps and first apartments with roaches. At 7:40, my phone buzzed face down on the counter. I ignored it. At 9:10, someone said, "This place feels like you." I went to bed at 11 with dishes in the sink, my phone on silent, and woke at 6:30 to sunlight filtering through citrus leaves, feeling a quiet that wasn't hollow. The locked mailbox delivers a daily reminder. This is yours, this is yours, this is yours.